Right, everyone, we are back with a new match. It's better than Martin this time around. We're gonna watch Replenish against Terrageddon. What do you think about the matchup?
Good question. I don't know, actually. What do you think?
Well, just based on the power of the Replenish deck, I would kinda assume that it has an edge because the Terragon deck doesn't really have that much to interact with it. But, I'll be happy to get proven wrong.
Yeah, I would assume that there's at least an edge for that deck. But I mean, like the card Armageddon should be brutal if it could be resolved.
That is true.
And we already see some disruption here with Wasteland. So trying to catch up, we're in the third turn, and we see an attunement and a seal of cleansing for the Replenish player, and Ancient Tomb got wastelanded, and Terrageddon has no pressure whatsoever.
Yep.
Only two Mirage Forest in play, and I guess that's generally like an awkward spot to be in when you don't have that pressure. You want to have something down, and then the wastelands become better if you have a creature on board already.
Yep. As you said, I think Armageddon is like one of the few ways that this they can actually steal game one.
Yeah.
Postboard is probably gonna get better. We might see some like graveyard removal stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah. Especially with that, what is the name of the blue card in the play?
Attunement, yeah.
Attunement. It's gonna be really hard for Matěj to not be able to find anything.
Yeah.
And given that Dawid has only 2 forests, I think that Matěj is in a huge favor.
Yeah, especially being on the play here, and also with the Ancient Tomb into Ancient Tomb. He has the clear like
Kind of a weird sequencing, by the way. He Seal of Cleansing end of turn, where you can just draw and then decide. Also, he bounced the attunement, and then he played he played Ancient Tomb, and then he cracked the attunement. Throughout.
Yeah, you will crack the attunement first, and
Yeah,
keep all options.
Yeah, he would probably still play the Ancient Tomb, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's on the crucial 4 mana. We're probably gonna see Parallax Tide, I would assume. That card is just brutal. It's basically just Armageddon just for your opponent.
It's important here what he puts in the graveyard. We saw, was it an Appellescence and a wave in the graveyard, or and a couple of lands?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we see a Frantic Search. So I assume he's gonna discard 2 more enchantments and then just play Replenish, assuming he has one.
I don't see a Replenish. I see a Swords and a pair of attunements, I think. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so he's probably just gonna see Parallax Tide.
But I mean, he has, it seems that he has some time to dig.
So
to
he
dig
goes
for Armageddon.
the attunement again.
Dig for Replenish, yeah.
So he could have played Parallax Tide. Instead, he opts for just playing attunement, probably trying to find a Replenish for the next turn.
But do you mean wave? Because I didn't see him, the white one.
Not the blue one.
Did he bin that? I don't think he had it.
Okay, sorry. Maybe I just.
It was the wave and the white one and Opalescence. I think that he binned.
He has one more blue card in his hand. Maybe it's like an intuition or something.
I think it was another attunement, but I'm not quite. It could be an intuition. Could be an intuition, but I'm not sure. But if he had an intuition, I would almost assume that he would cast it for Replenish. Yeah.
So Richard on board is quite important here. That's gonna stop that Ancient Tomb. So he goes from 4 mana to 2 mana now.
Yeah. A mana leak was that? Okay. That also gave him some, I don't know, some extra space if he wants to just like pass the
he
turn.
didn't find land though. Oh, did he? Maybe the last card is land. Okay.
I think it's in a darker wastes. He bins the swords, some enchantment, and another swords. Why not? Because Terrageddon has no pressure whatsoever, so it's just hitting those land drops, and I think it's an intuition he's holding back now. Actually,
it might be, or he just passed because he has the mana leak.
Yeah, for the Geddon. So now the mana leak is very handy here.
Yeah, we were talking about before whether Mana Leak is actually good in the deck or not, but as we can see now, if he didn't have it, he would have just lost. So, it was pretty good here.
can be noted that, I mean, even a resolved Armageddon here would not be like the end of things, because as we said before, the lack of pressure from the Terrageddon player, we just put them in some kind of top deck mode. So it has to be an intuition now, I feel, because if it would be an attunement, it would have played it. So we assume it's an intuition in.
If it is an intuition, then it's basically GG, unless there's another Armageddon.
Yeah, but there's not. It's a Call of a Herd.
Cool card, but it's not really gonna do anything that important here.
Oh. And the port is not enough either. I mean, he has plenty of mana at this point. And with 3 potential white sources, I think, is that the fetch land or is the plains? It's a plains, right?
I think so.
Yeah, there comes the intuition for replenish, we should assume. And that should wrap up.
Intuition is such a cool card. It's basically a tutor, but you know, it has like some other applications. It's pretty cool.
I feel it's a card which like the potential for it has not been completely explored in the format. Actually, it's such a tricky card.
How often do you search for like different cards? For example, in this deck, do you think it ever happens? Like obviously, if you have only 2 copies left, then it's different. But
I can see it happening if you want to set up a replenish and you want some particular pieces. So I mean, imagine you have like a frantic search or an attunement in play. Then I can see that you want to go for, say, a wave, a tide, and an opalescence, for instance, if you have a replenish, just to get all the pieces there, because you can build them anyway with a frantic search. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I think if any deck, it's in this. And here we go. Didn't even bother to use the port. And of course, with the Parallax wave, you get to exile the tokens permanently, so it's a bit humiliating even. But this should be more than enough, just in terms of
raw power.
3 opalescence even. Okay, yeah. Is this he could one shot him with his army. It's 21.
He doesn't have a Parallax tide, so it's not like immediate GG, but I assume it's still gonna be enough. There's no Wrath of God in the Terrageddon deck, right?
No. So that's really the first game. Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna get a look at the sideboards here. I assume there's not gonna be that many changes from the replenish side. Just playing against like a mid-range deck. Maybe he wants more potential answers for Armageddon, but I don't know if he has any. He can name it with a Meddling Mage, I guess. But that seems kind of clunky.
Yeah, maybe. It's not... Yeah, it's not... I mean, it's not terrible if it's a card that you really fear, but... I don't know, Abeyance, could that be relevant? They could also just like buy that crucial turn, like a time walk almost.
From the other side, I'm curious how many crypts do we see? I see 2.
You see 2? I don't see 2.
Here, right?
So, yeah, that's right. 2 crypts. Disenchants, why not? You'll probably bring in all the disenchant effects that you have. Is that like extra cataclysm? It's a bit hard to see from the picture. It might be extra cataclysm, or it might be something else at the bottom there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's something you...
It is cataclysm.
Yeah, I mean...
You probably want to bore out all the removal spells.
Yeah, I mean, some replenish deck would have like Exalted Alien in the board. They don't know, but you probably board out at least, I mean, some amount. Yeah, here you can imagine boring out all the swords for 2 disenchant and 2 crypts, for instance.
I think the assumption is that they don't have the Exalted Angel. Maybe if you see it game 2, you can bring some swords back. But in general, I wouldn't really want to draw a dead card. So,
but like a card like, how do you feel about a card like Call of the Herd? Seems kind of slow.
It is, but I don't think he has like that many cards to bring in, so he has to probably keep it.
Isn't it better to have, if those are indeed extra copies of Cataclysm, I think I'd rather have those just to disturb the mana base, because that's...
I agree.
Like, one of the ways you would win, I think. To disrupt the mana.
Yeah, I think the matchup is gonna get a lot more better for the Terrageddon deck, but that being said, I still think it favors the Replenish deck.
Yeah.
Especially game 3 when he will be on the play. So, given that, assuming that he will lose the game 2, which, we obviously don't know if it happens or not.
Okay, so we're taking Mulligan's. I was thinking about whether they were still sideboarding or not, but I saw some meddling mages there.
Yeah, maybe he really fears the Armageddon.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But I think it makes sense to bring in meddling mage, actually, because Armageddon is one of the ways you lose in 2 ways. I mean, it destroys your mana, but it also makes Terravor a threat, a really fast clock. So without Geddon, you don't have to be afraid of much, I would say. You could you could play it quite slow from the Replenish player's perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I saw only one land from Matěj now, so
there should be another mulligan. Yeah, we can't really see David's hand here, but he also mulliganed.
That is definitely one of the ways he can lose, though. Just mulligan infinite.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's the wasteland factor in this matchup. He needs to hit that crucial 4 mana, or at least 3, so he can get Attunement or Frantic Surge going.
Seems like Dawid kept his 6. Mulligan is way more punishing for the combo deck, of course, because the Terrageddon deck can play 1 Sylvan Library, and he's fine immediately. But Replenish deck needs to combine multiple pieces, lands, things that to discard the Replenish itself. 5 cards isn't really enough.
Especially with Attunement, you would like some... I mean, then you really feel if you're mulligan to 5 and use Attunement.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think we have a Dark Oasis and a Swords, from what I can see in the Replenish players. Is that a Sabbath Web as well? I think it's a Sabbath Web. That should come in handy against the Treat of Village that Dawid deployed.
Turn 1/1. Did he just... Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Nimble Mongoose of the Treat of Village, and then the Wasteland. And yeah, here's the Wasteland factor what we talked. I think it's really crucial. Now we can't play the Sabbath Web, and now Dawid is... Yeah, he has the initiative at least for now.
Yeah.
So
the Mongoose wasn't played in the Terrageddon deck at the beginning, I think, but it seems pretty good, because you can just, get threshold pretty easily with Armageddons and stuff.
So let's see if he has the next land drop. I'm not sure. He doesn't. And that really changes the game. Because the Sabbath Web there will be absolutely crushing.
So what does the web do exactly?
Lands that have some other effect than producing mana, they do not untap during their... So bye-bye to all the Treat of Villages, for instance. Rishadan Ports.
Yep.
Yeah. And it also cantrips, so then it could cantrip into its next land drop. But now it's a completely different game.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty fast clock, so...
So the one Treat of Village 8 the swords, right? So they're playing pretty fast here. But
He might not have another land though. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. No land for replenish player, and now the pressure is just even if they're even if they're just 1/1s, another wasteland. This is exactly how I'd imagine that Terrageddon wins, just punishing the mana base somehow. And now with the pressure in play, that's the difference compared to the previous game where they had no creatures, and then you'll also have all the time in the world.
The creatures are pretty embracing. He just used 3 cards to put 3 1/1s into play, but it's probably gonna be enough this game.
Yeah. And this is not the fetch land, right? This is the filter land. They have ridiculously similar artwork, but I think this is the filter land, so it actually does nothing for him at this point. It's a 2-turn clock now, so this game should be in the bag already.
GG. Even if he draws the land here, it's still not gonna save him. He might play the web to stop the treat off for a turn, but
but then there's nothing else going.
All right, well,
that
David
was a quick one.
Yeah, David was able to steal game 2. I'm not really sure if it's gonna work out the same for game 3, but being on the play is huge in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely.
You can just play, for example, like a Parallax Tide with the turn before they can play Armageddon. Yeah.
So there's really just one Sabos Web in the main deck and none in the sidebar as far as I can see.
That's such a weird card to play main deck. I guess he's really scared of those wastelands, but I guess it always cantrips, but I don't know.
It's good against some other decks, like the Oath Ponce decks, because they have both Richard and Porta and Treat of Villages.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the cantrip effect, like, really doesn't cost you a lot. It would have been absolutely fantastic if he had his second land here and he could shut down both the treetops. That would be brutal, but yeah, he didn't get there because of the wastelands.
Yeah, I don't think the fact that he's on the plate really changes anything in his sideboarding. Maybe the meddling mage is less important because you can stop the Armageddon by, I don't know, playing Parallax Knight and stuff. But that's the only thing I can think about.
First turn, the Meister's Sabos Web. This might turn out to be like win him the game actually, because it's Treat of Village is also a big part of the pressure that Dawid can put on him.
Well, more importantly, it stops the wastelands, right? That's the.
Yeah, but it doesn't really stop them because you can use them, right?
Oh, it only doesn't untap, right?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Sorry. That's less good than I thought.
But it's free because it cantrip, so
yeah.
He discards the treetop, I think, of the Mox Diamond. Makes sense. And it is with a turn 1 Wayfarer. Okay, that's nice. It will obviously we'll be looking now for wastelands. And there's the filter land.
Wayfarer with Mox is kind of brutal.
So we'll see maybe an attunement or a frantic search. Yeah, an attunement. And now I'm expecting Wayfarer to find a wasteland here.
Yep.
For the tomb probably, just to keep his mana down.
What is Matěj gonna do about that? Wayfarer just searching for a wasteland every turn.
I mean, he needs to make Dawid run out of wastelands, right?
Or just sword it, I guess. But if he had a sword, he would have used it already.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can find a sword next turn, maybe off attunement, but yeah, still. It will buy Dawid some time, because then he will not doing anything else that turn.
Yep.
Cycling the, what's it called, step something, secluded step.
Interestingly, Matěj brought in a Tormod script.
Yeah.
What do you think about that in this matchup? It kills it makes the Terraform a little bit smaller, but
I don't think it makes sense to bring in Tormod script from the Replenish player's perspective. Did Dawid have 2 in his cyber, right? Or
I think so.
Yeah. And here's the wasteland as expected.
Here's
Only
another
one crypt.
Bayfire is such a weird card. Sometimes it looks super embracing. It doesn't really do anything. Sometimes it's completely insane.
Yeah, it's a powerful effect.
Okay, so Matěj does really need to find swords here. Alternatively, he can just like keep playing basics. That's one way to get around Wastelands.
Sure, but then he needs to hit those basics. So now we bins a tide this time, I think, and 2 attunement, and there was the swords. Okay.
Alright, so the game continues.
So now it's a bit... Yeah, so it is a crypt in play. Maybe that was what you commented. I didn't see it because of the glare.
Yeah, that's why I commented.
Okay, sorry. I didn't even see it. It is a bit of glare on the stream, as you might notice, but you see a crypt there. We also have the stream overlay, so yeah, it's... I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't like it. Also, like, you can just wait on it. You don't have to put it into play immediately. And especially with attunement, I think it's better to just keep it in your hand, and then if you need it, you can play it, at that turn. But you just played it preemptively. I don't really like that.
It seems a little bit passive. Also, given that you have swords as an answer to Terra War, you maybe not need to be terribly scared of that, but yeah. Now it's a 6/6, but I think they have... I think most of the lands are actually in the Replenish player's graveyard.
So you can just remove his own graveyard, but that's pretty
that's pretty bad. I think there's just maybe a wasteland and a treetop village should be in David's Terrageddon player's graveyard at this point. So it's a bit awkward now with the crypts, in my opinion.
It is pretty awkward, yeah. If he wanted to do it, maybe he should have done it before the frantic search. Now it's like super awkward. Yeah, I don't know.
It's almost a 2-turn clock now, the Terror War. We don't know the cards in hand here. There could be another swords waiting, of course.
I mean, he didn't play the attunement, right? So I assume he has intuition or swords.
Here comes the Cataclysm. Let's see if he has the mana leak.
The way he grabbed the card, I don't think it's...
No, that's a bad sign. Like, if you read it.
It's like, what is this? His hand is trembling.
Yeah. And it would make... Yeah, he has a Replenish in hand. Ouch.
So close, yet so
that
far.
might be game, actually. Because I don't think there's no time to recover mana-wise now. For the Replenish side, right? There's no way he will get to 4 mana again.
I mean, he can top deck a sword to keep the game going.
Sure. Yeah, that's pretty much it then. Yeah.
Did use the crypt to make it a little bit smaller, so he might get like slightly more time.
Yeah, but it's okay. So it's down to 11. Yeah. Okay, so it's a 3-turn clock. Yeah, he has a few turns, but that's swords now is his outs as far as I can see.
What if he draws two more lands? Because
I mean, you can draw like an ancient tomb, and then you can replenish immediately. So he has other outs, to be fair, but he has a darker in hand. Maybe it's enough with one hand now because the clock is...
Land, so...
Okay, so now it's a 2-turn clock. So now one...
City of Raiders, Ancient Tomb, or Swords.
Yeah, like a regular land doesn't do it anymore, because now it's a 2-turn clock.
Yep.
And I think... How many Ancient Tombs are gone already? Did we see...
I think there was only one, because he played it on turn 1, and I think he didn't play a second one.
Okay. Oh, that's a crypt from him, and that's another story.
That gets...
Yeah, even though it would shrink the Terror War, so you only use it if you really need to, but it now destroys the replenishment, and that's game over.
Nice. didn't expect the match to go this way, but here we are.
Yeah.
Maybe the matchup isn't as bad as we thought because those Armageddons and Cataclysms are really brutal. But I don't know. Maybe you know, the matchup usually doesn't play out this way. He got really unlucky by mulliganing to 5 game 2, and you know, then kind of stumbled game 3 as well. But yeah, maybe if he like drew something else instead of that Tormod Crypt.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that could have been a more relevant card.
Yeah.
To be honest, but we don't know what he boarded out there. But
maybe you know, if it was like a mana league or something, that would change everything. So we obviously don't know, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this round, and we will be back.